You created one of the most iconic franchises in video game history, really. What's it like seeing these different iterations between movies and TV, but especially this series? And
I kind of associate it with comic books. There's really Superman has been represented in a number of different kind of universes. As far off the normal canon as like Red Sun Superman or something like that. And ever since the kind of introduction of the Mortal Kombat Rebirth, I think Kevin kind of defined a new universe of Mortal Kombat, a more contemporary, a more present day, more a little more dark, a little more sinister version of Mortal Kombat, but still with those kind of accents of humor that so each character kind of maintains their like the essence of what they were, but in a presentation that's a lot more contemporary. And that's, to me, is the most exciting part, is just seeing it reimagined in such a powerful way. Kevin's just clearly such an obvious fan of the game, and it really shows with the work.
Now, Ed, can you? I think that's a round of applause. Now, Ed, can you share some of your inspirations for some of the characters from Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, the first movie. I'm a child of comic books, movies, and that's the ultimate influence in all of the games that I worked on. And if you think back, Liu Kang was a little bit of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon. Raiden, I don't know how many people you saw Big Trouble in Little China. There's a lot of inspiration in that. Yeah, I didn't work on that movie. And there was a lot of, like the ninjas and all that. So, Kano was actually inspired from Terminator 2, just when he was getting shot, you saw the thing there. So we're just a product of that. And so, it's kind of like, video games, comic books, movies, and it's kind of like this full circle thing. So a lot of our inspiration originally was from movies and comic books and that we've seen. That's our main influence.
Now, this question is for Kevin. We've seen a few different iterations of Mortal Kombat. How do you want this one to stand out from the rest?
Oh, damn. I definitely want it to be better than the second movie. I just wanted to be able to kind of hold its own. I know that this is a beloved franchise that's lasted for over 20 years. And with that comes a lot of things that are tagged along with it. Different expectations, things that people have come up with their own fan interpretations. And with this, I just hope they can appreciate it as its own entity. Now, whether people love it or hate it, I think at least to appreciate the ambition is something that is probably the most important to me. Because taking something like this and trying to revamp it is a task because there's so much history to it. And so I hope at least, the ambition was appreciated.
All right, this question's for everybody. Without spoiling anything, are there any standout moments that people really should be looking forward to?
People die. And they fight.
And do we hear the F word?
Fatality.
Oh,
And Scorpion magically learned how to speak English.
I did.
Kitana's
Sorry about
fatality,
that, Japanese, y'all. I mean, I tried my best, but we win English in season 2. But no, for me, the things that stood out, one was Casper's portrayal of Johnny Cage. I mean, there's such a natural humor to the character. I mean, it adds the perfect amount of comic relief, and it's so much fun.
It's like method acting. It's like he's playing himself.
He's playing himself. Man, like I said, sometimes a role is just meant to be. Another place where that's actually the case is in Brian's portrayal his tortured portrayal of Liu Kang, and he's kind of the emotional anchor of season 2, and his performance is phenomenal, and you guys are going to love it, and really, the fatalities. I can't stress that enough. You guys are going to love the fatalities, and you're going to see one in a little bit. I can't wait to see your reaction.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Fan reaction and fan interaction has been a big part of this series. How do you feel about that? Like, that's got to feel good, right? Having the fans be that passionate.
Absolutely. I'm a fan myself, and seeing what Kevin created, you know, along with Ian in Rebirth, kind of just blew me away. And then Ian and Kevin both, yes, it was unbelievable. And you guys all saw it. And, you know, the fans really kind of speak to the creators and what they want, and created a season 1 for Mortal Kombat that they completely crushed, and now a season 2. So it feels, for me, much more connected to the fan base, and me also being a fan, I feel connected to the series and really, really wanting it to explode, and I feel the fans allow us to do that.
You know?
That was the beauty too, being on Machinima, was to be able to just launch the series and then instantly see the reaction from you guys, and instantly get feedback. You know, and being in a studio, for us to kind of sit and look at that and really organically look at that and say, wait a minute, there's something, maybe we should do a feature film, or maybe we should do a second season, you know, with Machinima, and that's the beauty of it, is that you instantly see the reaction and comments, what people loved, what people didn't like, and, you know, coming from the film side, and you know, during the process of season 1, I was developing a movie with Robert Downey Jr., and he got to just watch the process from the very first day I met Kevin, which was 4 months later. We launched the series on Machinima. Like, a guy like that blew his mind. Like, he could not believe that we were able to, you know, conceive something and then 4 months later launch it, and then minutes later see the reaction. Like, it blew his mind.
Right, because to put that in perspective, a TV show from conception to getting it on the air might take, what, 9 months at best, a year. A movie, even longer than that.
5 years or more.
Right, right. So the turnaround is, that, from somebody who's worked production, that's amazing.
The thing that I, you know, just in thinking about where content is going, I think I have this conversation with a lot of people as far as what the digital revolution is doing for content in general. And the term incubate gets thrown around in almost every meeting that I have. What I'm more thrilled about with this, and the instant digestion from audiences, and also the instant feedback for us, is that I actually think that this might be one of the first examples of an IP that was mistakenly incubated online and actually pushed up because of fan reaction. And from a passion project, from a short film that I did on my own, to a web series that the fans loved, definitely led us to do the feature film, and now we're starting to see it on Machinima. They're doing it with Ridley Scott now. We're going to incubate, what, 10 sci-fi shorts? 12.
I mean, I think, you know, it's going to be an interesting, this group up here, you know, Ed Boon, Warner Brothers, and Kevin have literally, I think, changed the game forever for fans. I mean, it is absolutely proven. Ultimately, the biggest issue that all this content ever had was that it had to appeal to so many different people to be successful. And the beauty of what, you know, Machinima and YouTube has done is allowed us to reach all the fans on a global basis, so we could stay a lot more narrow in its focus. We didn't really have to think about the masses, but really just think about what the fans wanted. I mean, Kevin had to think about it. I just put it up, and I think Kevin really took advantage of that, and we had seen that 2.2 billion views had been created before Kevin put up his short, of fans making Mortal Kombat everything. I mean, from, you know, we had done a bunch of stuff that was animated, you know, fatalities that just didn't make the cut for Ed and team, and so we made up new ones, and I can tell you right now that the embracing of, you know, of what NetherRealm has embraced and what Warner Brothers has embraced and what Kevin has pushed is going to change it forever. We are now gone from a point 3 years ago, where we were begging to do stuff like this for all of us, and now it's the other way around. We're going to see, I think, today announced that Netflix won a bunch of Emmys. Has never happened before. I can tell you that's going to happen where Kevin is likely to win Best Director in that series, in 3 years from now, on a series that's going to live, for the fans on a global basis, on something like Machinima, hopefully. So I think it's a really watershed moment.
All right, so we talked about it earlier. I think we need, who wants to see a clip? I guess that's a yes.